Вы умеете прощать?
Да. Но не все.
А что невозможно простить?
Предательство.
If you're listening by podcast, that was Putin being interviewed. And the interviewer asks, "Are you capable of forgiveness?" And Putin answers, "Yes, but not everything." And so the interviewer asks, "So what's impossible for you to forgive?" And Putin responded with one word: betrayal. And he gave the interviewer an icy stare. And that about sums up the eventful weekend in the Russian Federation, as I'm sure you all know by now. The mercenary mutiny led by Evgeny Prigozhin has officially collapsed, to the utter disappointment of globalists around the world, from Soros to Schwab, from Bolton to the bullies in Brussels, all of whom promised us this was the end of Putin. The people are rising up. They want nothing more to do with this despotic dictator. Russia wants so desperately to be like us. They want Pride Month. It's so sad. It's how delusional these sycophants are. They literally live in their own bubble, a world of their own design, of their own making. While 90% of the rest of the world is turning away from these globalists and actually siding with Russia, and most especially with Vladimir Putin. The simple fact is that President Vladimir Putin's approval rating is the highest it's ever been. This is coming from data compiled by the independent polling firm called Levada Center. Putin has an astonishing 83% approval rating. Interestingly, the last time his approval rating was this high was back in 2014, just after Russia had annexed Crimea. Now, what's so hilarious here is that the legacy media is trying to account for this by claiming that his soaring approval rating is the result of a systemic crackdown on any dissent to the war in Ukraine, so people can only hear, a single opinion. There's no differing opinions. But this is just whistling past the graveyard. Not only is it a ridiculous self-own as the legacy media, they don't give us differing opinions. They have a monolithic narrative that's beyond pathetic. So not only that, but it's an ironic refusal on the legacy media's part to actually understand what's really happening, not just in Russia, but in the whole of the non-Western world. It's being widely reported that nations like China, Turkey, Iran, Brazil, they all reached out to Putin during the crisis over the weekend and made it absolutely clear to him, we got your back, man. They were 100% in support of Putin. All the sub-Saharan nations, 100% support. Saudi Arabia, 100% support. We have to understand is that the world is going through a massive tectonic paradigm shift right now as we speak. Nearly 90% of the world's population refuses to arm Ukraine and sanction Russia. I mean, you have to let that hit you, gang. 90% of the world's population refuses to sanction Russia. And in the process, over the last year, Russia's used this opportunity to strengthen ties with many of those nations. So much so that Thomas Fazzi over at Unheard is asking, who is really isolating whom here? Well, we're going to answer precisely that. But first, gang, you all know that as we age, aches and pains are normal, but they don't have to be. And that's where a groundbreaking medical scientist comes in, and that's Clint Winters. You've seen Clint on Fox. You've read about him in Forbes. He's a world-renowned health expert who's unveiled a natural pain reliever that's taking the world by storm. It's called Kano CB2. It's a 100% drug-free way to get full-body pain relief without dangerous meds. It's the go-to pain reliever for hundreds of professional athletes, tens of thousands of seniors, and it's even the official pain reliever for the fighters in the UFC. And the best news is Kano CB2 has no documented side effects after years of private testing. It's absolutely the future of pain relief. So whatever you do, make sure to click on that link below right now and check out Clint's amazingly informative report on how Kano CB2 is changing lives by providing safe and powerful relief at a fraction of the cost of pain pills. Click on that link below right now. If we take a step back from all the banter coming out of the legacy media, we find that it's actually the woke West that looks increasingly isolated in this emerging civilizational world. Since the start of Russia's special military operation in Ukraine, China and Russia boosted their bilateral trade by more than 30%. They've committed to massive building and infrastructure projects through what's called the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the SCO, which is fast becoming the largest economic organization in the world. It includes nations such as India, Pakistan, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. It encompasses 40% of the world's population and 30% of the global GDP, and this doesn't even include BRICS. At the end of the Russia-China summit several weeks back, President Xi's final words to Putin were, "Change is coming that hasn't happened in 100 years, and we are driving this change together. Change is coming that hasn't happened in a century, and the rising civilization states of Russia and China are driving this change together." It was an absolutely astonishing statement, and one that the dolts in D.C. are utterly clueless on. But again, as Thomas Fatsi observes, the real problem here for the liberal world order is that much of that 90% of the world is taking Russia and China's side. Shortly after President Xi departed from Moscow, delegations from 40 African nations attended an official conference entitled Russia and Africa in a Multipolar World. And there Putin announced that Russia would be forgiving billions of dollars of African debt, and this is key, as a gesture of solidarity in their support for traditional moral values and their resistance against the insanity of the woke West. And of course, all this follows on the heels of the astonishing peace deal and rapprochement between Saudi Arabia and Iran, brokered by China. The bumbling Biden administration was completely left out in the cold in all of that. The world is turning its back on the New World Order and the woke WEF and the dolts in D.C. and bullies in Brussels. They want nothing more to do with either Soros or Biden. This is what the legacy media won't even acknowledge. Ironically, it's the legacy media that tries to keep as much of the world as possible in the dark, but unfortunately for them, 90% of the world has seen the light, and as far as they're concerned, they'd rather have Putin than Pride Month. Hey gang, if you want to connect with more courageous patriots and start taking action and organizing, be sure to join my Telegram group. I post the latest breaking news I find interesting and chat with my favorite patriots around the country and even the world. Click the link in the description below and join the conversation today.